Okay, then the first thing you have to do when you do a video is you have to make a thumbnail.
Oh, a thumbnail, yeah.
Cheers, and we smile.
One for you, Miadi. One for me, Miadi.
Hello, and welcome back to Drinking by Myself. But today I am not drinking by myself. I am drinking...
By my shelf.
Well, by your shelf. And with a very special guest. This is Daddy-O.
Yay!
And cheers.
Well, cheers to you.
We're here today because you have just published a brand new poetry book.
So this is a book to commemorate the centenary of the end of the First World War.
I like centenary. Is that how we say it? Would we say centenary?
We would say okay.
I was saying centenary, but was I getting it wrong?
Oh, don't be absurd. And it's a new collection of poems and readings and letters and prose extracts from people affected by the First World War.
All chosen and edited by you.
Chosen and edited by me with some help from my friends. We wanted to make it a little bit different from just the typical kind of Siegfried Sassoon and Wilfred Owen and all the kind of typically male military point of view.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of poetry in here written by women and a lot of poetry in here that address the two main themes we were interested in. One was what was called shell shock in those days, but of course we call
PTSD.
Yeah, exactly. I can never get those initials in the right letter.
Okay.
Yeah, in the right order. Post-traumatic stress disorder. And there's some really grim stuff about the effects of shell shock. So that's one area that we concentrate on. And the other area is the Shot at Dawn campaign. So the young men who were shot for desertion or cowardice, because after 6 months in the trenches being bombed, their nerves finally cracked and they were considered to be cowards. So they were not just despised or reprimanded, they were actually shot for desertion.
So it's divided into different sections.
Yeah, so the first chapter is all about the euphoria of yay, we're going to fight a war. Hello, I'd love my drink.
We're having a quick tea and cake break.
Thank you very much indeed. Is that okay for drinking by myself if one is drinking tea by myself? Perfect. And cake.
Okay. Also, who made this cover?
Oh, a lovely chap called Sean Cuff, the greatest illustrator on the planet, lives on the Isle of Wight. He's the guy who he's the constant doodler.
Oh, him!
Yeah.
He's so cool.
He is so cool. This guy, Sean Cuff, can do a picture. His kind of trademark thing is to do pictures of, let's say, a landscape or a seascape or any kind of picture. But he starts with his pencil on the left-hand side of the page.
Yeah.
And he finishes on the right, and in the middle he's done the picture, but he doesn't take his pencil off the page, so it's all one continuous loop.
They're really cool though. I didn't realize he did this.
Yeah. So the first chapter is all, isn't this going to be amazing? Chapter 2 is called Going Off to Fight, which is about the early years of the war. Sassoon was writing poetry in those early years, which is quite patriotic and, this is a glorious type of exercise. He hadn't become disillusioned by that early stage. Then chapter 3, The Bitter Truth. And The Bitter Truth is a chapter about actually this is not fun.
Yeah.
It just is not fun at all. A lot of poems that deal with people being gassed. So Anthem for Doomed Youth, for example, appears in chapter 3.
Are they kind of in chronological order, the poems?
Yeah, well, not within a chapter. Some of it is just pagination, trying to get them onto the page. There's this amazing guy, Isaac Rosenberg. I don't know if you came across him. He was a chap who joined up as a private soldier. Most of the war poets are officers from the officer class. He goes in as a private soldier and writes some of the most powerful, very embittered poetry about the horrors of the war. He was killed in 1918. One of the worst things actually about is when you put the dates of the poet underneath. Yeah. And so many of them, 1890 to 1918. Horrid.
Does it make you sad putting it together?
Oh God, it was grim. It was really, really hideous. Because you think, I remember the First World War poets, we did it at school. Yeah. We've got a lot of extracts from diaries and letters. And reading about the horrors of the trenches is sort of slightly more compelling because they're not trying to write a poem that rhymes or scans.
Yeah.
They're just writing home to their parents saying what a terrible time they're having. So we've got this section on those left behind. It's a bit that doesn't normally crop up when people are talking about First World War poetry. Some of it is quite familiar. So that's Vera Brittain. Crikey, she was young. She was 17, I think. Just about to go off to Oxford. Her brother was already up at Oxford. Her fiancé was, I think, already up at Oxford, and she was about to go up. She was a year younger than them. She'd done her first May morning at Magdalen Bridge, looking up at the choristers, and then the war breaks out. Brother and fiancé are both killed, and she writes this terribly sad poem about how, you can still look at Magdalen Bridge, but so much has changed, even though the site you're looking at is one that was so familiar and so happy. So that's sad. Then what else did we do? Walking with the Wounded. So the other thing about this collection is we're giving 5% of all the revenue to Walking with the Wounded, the charity. What happened to the soldiers when they came back from the front with very life-affecting wounds? Some of that was physical, so people who'd had their legs blown off and so on. I was particularly interested in the mental scars. Then we had some stuff on the people who were shot for desertion. And again, there's some interesting female poets, Helen Eden and Winifred Letts, writing about
I remember this one, The Deserter. I think we read that one at school.
Yeah. And then we finished the whole thing with a collection of poems about the aftermath of the war.
Interesting. There's one word that you say the short A and I say the long A. I would have said aftermath.
Yeah, but then people would think...
Yeah, but you're always teasing me for saying transatlantic and that's like aftermath.
I couldn't say the aftermath. Though I did, and you should know this needs to be recorded for posterity, have a great uncle who referred during the war to his gas mask.
No, he didn't.
He did. His gas mask.
His gas
mask. He was the one who obviously referred to the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay, so the aftermath.
So the aftermath is poems written by people about, after the war. What do we do? There's a wonderful poem by Vera Brittain called The Lament of the Demobilised.
So, okay, my question.
Yes.
Why do you think that today's students should still be reading these poems?
I think what's interesting about this anthology is the early chapter shows that there was a time when people thought war was not quite good, but was something pretty close to being good.
Yeah.
And we've called this book Never Again because the war was always called the war to end all wars. Yeah. Well, of course, within half a generation, they were having another world war.
Yeah.
How is it that we are still having wars to settle problems is anyone's guess. So long as war is going on in the world, we've got to remember the horrors of it and while not glorifying it, just to commemorate the horrors of what people went through.
What do you think is the most positive change in the last 100 years?
Well, I think Chelsea winning the Premiership.
Yeah.
Because, back in the day it was...
Yeah, that's the highlight of the last century.
I should think it's right up there. Okay. Definitely, it's right up there.
Okay, I've written 10 questions. Okay. They all revolve around the last 100 years. Okay. Or rather, since the 11th of November 1918, did these things happen before or after? Number 1, the invention of the hula hoop. Not the crisp, the hoop. The hoop that you spin.
Way before. Yeah. You see one in a painting by, is he called Bruegel?
Do you see one in a painting?
Yeah, a hula hoop.
I may have to check my answers. This says they were invented in 1958.
It depends what you mean. Do you mean a hoop, a spinning hoop?
Yeah, that you spin around your body, not that you spin on the ground.
No, I meant one that you wheel along like a bicycle wheel. And there's a stick that your job is to
so maybe they had those, and then in 1958 someone thought, if I spin this around my body, that'll be a fun game.
Right, and that's called a hula hoop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, number 1 needs some fact checking.
Yeah.
Number 2, sliced bread.
What, that you can buy in a...
The best thing since sliced bread.
Okay. That, I'm going to say, was after 1918.
Very good. It was 1928.
Whoa.
The fax machine.
They had telex, didn't they? The Titanic.
Okay.
They sent messages, but that wasn't the whole point about a fax is it's an image, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that was 1932.
1843.
Whoa, is that by a country mile?
Yeah, so that was before.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Tiffany's, the jewellery chain.
Yeah. Before or after 19... Yeah, that was very much before.
Correct. 1853.
1853. Right.
Okay, question number 5.
Yes.
The last time that the guillotine was used in France.
Well, all your instincts is to say before, but somehow the fact that it's a question, I'm thinking that might be afterwards.
It's a bit of a clue.
Whoa. So the guillotine was used, what, to cut someone's head off?
Yeah.
After 1918? Blimey. Okay, and I'm going to say it was in 1921.
No, it was 1977.
No, what?
Yeah.
You're trying to be funny. A human being had his head chopped off in France with a guillotine in 1977.
Yeah. The word teenager was invented.
Yeah, a teenager, that would be after 1918.
Yeah.
In about 1950.
No, it's earlier than that. So you were right, but it's very interesting and relevant. It was actually invented in 1940, and it was used to describe the younger siblings of men who had gone to war, but to the Second World War.
Right.
Teenagers were left behind.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, question number
7.
Crosswords.
When were crosswords invented? I think the Romans had crosswords or something similar. So I'm going to say before 1918.
It was before 1918, but I have it here down as 1913.
Whoa, that's jolly.
Only just.
Okay, so probably not the Romans.
Well, no, but it's funny that you should say that. It now ruins the next question.
Okay.
Question number 8, central heating.
The Romans had
Yes. What would you have said before or after 1918?
Well, because I know the Romans had hypercausts.
Okay. Question number 9.
Yeah.
Chicken tikka masala.
Right, that is not a thing, is it? It wouldn't get it in India.
No.
So it's I think 1970.
Yeah, close. 1971.
Look at that.
It was invented by a chef in Glasgow.
There we go.
It's not an authentic Indian dish.
Yeah.
Okay, and question number 10.
Okay.
Pads, as in period pads.
Ooh, before.
Correct, before, but it's very interesting.
1914.
Not even. 1917.
Whoa.
They were invented during the war and because of the war.
Yeah.
So they were invented by the nurses because it was the padding used for the surgical bandages.
Yeah.
Some sort of enterprising nurses found that was very useful for them to use.
Gosh.
And then that led to the invention of pads.
Well.
There you go. So I didn't count your scores, but I'll
I bet I
say you
did well.
passed.
I passed. Just as a word of interest, we've been selling these copies to schools, and a huge take-up for the books has come from girls' schools, single-sex girls' schools.
And also people can buy it themselves if they want to?
Yeah, they can buy it, the normal kind of Amazon thing. Yeah, it's a nice collection to mark what is a pretty grim anniversary.
Well, thank you very much for being on Drinking by Myself.
It was very nice to be there.
I like that you swapped drinks to something more appropriate.
I jolly have.
And give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and leave a comment below if you have any questions, because I can ask them.
Exactly, and I can try and answer them.
Exactly. And do subscribe to Drinking by Myself, because I post new videos every Friday. See you next time! Hooray!